most ridiculous thoughts that I guess some women have. What if I gave birth to her? I don't know, like I wake up at night and bam, she just, swims out of me.
It's January 16th, about 11 a.m. And I'm making a cake for somebody's birthday, hopefully. I woke up at around 5 when my first contractions started. They're very mild, and again, feel different from the first time. But I think this is the day. Now they come every 5 minutes, but last only 20-25 seconds, maybe 30 tops. Getting more intense, so we'll see. I'm making a cake. I still have to make dinner. Not pre-make it. As you can see, it still makes sense. So it is getting closer, but not that close. We'll see. I bet on about 4 or 5 maybe the baby will be born. We'll see. 41st week starts on Thursday. Today's Monday. I was actually born on Monday too.
Hello, this is Lena.
And I'm John.
And this is Culturally Different. In today's episode, we are going to finally share our son's birth story, which happened
A little over a year ago.
and here he goes. Hello.
Hey, buddy. Oh, he's going to the kitchen.
Okay. Sorry for the background noise. The kids are playing very nicely, but still, it's impossible to not make any noise while playing. I think it actually makes sense to start not actually on the day of his birth, but the day before when we went to celebrate your brother's birthday.
Yeah, that's our son. Not bad.
So his aunt organized the surprise party for his brother, which was the day after or a couple days after our due date. But again, considering there were no signs for any starting labor, we decided to go. Why not? And relax, spend time with family. At some point, we were going like getting food and plates and stuff, and I remember feeling. I wouldn't call it even a contraction. It was like the tiniest sensation in my back. So I felt that, and I remember I was hugging you, and I was like, I feel something, and you were so excited. So like, do you want to leave now or something? And I felt like, geez, it's such a tiny feeling that maybe you're nothing, and we'll still have to wait for like another week or something. But part of me was a little excited. I remember that.
Off of that, related to that, so we had been waiting for about a month because somebody didn't do the math
Who did?
correctly.
Yeah, we went from, geez, the baby is 43, 4, 5 something weeks to, no, we're back at week 39.
Yeah.
And yes, the baby's coming soon. Yeah, so partly I kind of had a feeling what it is to not have your baby at 41, 42 weeks and how it's dragging. I wouldn't say I had a lot of like physical pain or anything that would add to that, but just this mental weight, especially if you have no idea what gender the baby is. Of course, you don't know what they look like. We didn't have any ultrasounds throughout the pregnancy. We never found out the gender, of course. So it's always a surprise, and yeah, it was very hard to wait, of course, to find out who was there. Then the next day, it's Monday. So we were actually hoping that because the due date is around weekends, it'll be really good to have it on the weekend, or I don't know, like very early morning on Monday, so John doesn't go to work and it's pretty clear. But Monday's coming, and it's 5 o'clock. John already woke up. We woke up. I remember that at night, the thing that was interesting that never happens, or never happened already at that time, at night, our daughter woke up and we sleep in the same room. She sleeps in a different bed, but she came to me at night, hugged me, and just went back to bed in a very good mood. It was strange. It was really strange. I mean, she could wake up at that time. She was younger. She sometimes would wake up at night to go to the bathroom and everything. But she didn't go to the bathroom. She just woke up, hugged me, and went back to sleep and fell asleep. And I remember that she was kind of laughing, falling asleep, and she was not sleepwalking. I don't know what it was. Seriously, I have no idea. But I felt that it was a sign or something. It was maybe at like 3 a.m. or something. Then 5 a.m. you woke up, I woke up, and felt something like a contraction. But it was so different from what it was before when I had contractions with our daughter, which is weird, and I feel like I will probably never have contractions like that, which were more like vibrations. And the story of birth to our daughter is right here. I have somewhat a contraction. I was like, alright, we'll see, maybe it's just a coincidence. 30 minutes later, the same thing. I'm very excited. I felt like, yes, that's it. Like, these are contractions and something's going to happen today. So we had breakfast with John. Joe left to work, and I thought, okay, it's just the beginning. We'll see how it goes. Go to work. I will let you know. After breakfast, I went back to bed because I thought like if it is birth, I just need more energy, so I'll sleep. So I slept a little bit before our daughter woke up. Then we decided to call my mom. Talked for maybe 40 minutes, in which I was in bed, mostly lying down, like sitting there, and I didn't have any contractions in this period of time. And I got very discouraged, honestly. I felt like, I don't know what it was, but maybe it's nothing. So maybe there won't be any baby today. We started doing things around the house. I decided to make a cake, prepare dinner, a pre-made dinner, and just, laundry, all that regular stuff.
At what point did you text me?
I think when we woke up, we finished the call to my mom. I woke up, we started doing things. So we started walking around. I started walking around, of course, my daughter also. And I started to feel contractions, and they were harder. And because my previous experience with our first kid, I had somewhat measurable contractions only after my water broke. And it was 3 hours before we had her. So I thought, okay. And this is a second birth, so it could have been much faster. So I texted John and I thought like, okay, let's reverse it. Can it come back? Because again, we didn't want our daughter to be here because she was 3.5 and very impressionable.
Well, I mean, she was 3.5, and we weren't sure how she would react to seeing all of that.
Yes, especially because if she was somewhat concerned about me, or I'm sick or something with me, because it's not like I'm sitting like, whoop, a baby,
Yeah.
So you change, of course, go through.
I mean, they're grown men who faint during births, so we thought it safer if she, at least for this one, was somewhere else. Yeah.
We decided that she will be with John's mom.
Looking back, I think that was a good call too.
Yeah.
I mean, you were obviously busy during the birth. I felt busier than I thought I would be during the birth.
Fast forwarding, what happened was John came, took our daughter to his mom while he was gone for an hour or something. It takes to go here and back, there and back. I finished most of the things I had to do.
The cream is ready. The cake is kind of ready. Ready to be put in the oven. The baby's still there.
And I baked the cake and everything, so there was not much to do when he came. He came around noon, maybe not even noon, like 11 something. Then we had lunch. No, the thing is that that day I wasn't hungry. I only ate breakfast at 6 or something, and then piece of chocolate. That explains what happened after birth. So it felt like a date. It's a Monday, we work. we had the babysitter, and we are free to do whatever. Pretty much.
So what we ended up doing was we found a movie on Amazon Prime and sat there and watched it, made some popcorn. What was the movie?
Lost City with
With Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
we watched fine. We stopped a little bit while contractions were getting more and more intense. They were not very intense compared to birth that I had before, because I had the period in between where I could relax. But when they came at some point, maybe closer to 3 o'clock, I remember that I didn't want any visuals and sound while I had a contraction. So it was not that it was that painful, just kind of annoying, and it's a sign of I'm already going to this like trance, let's say, in which you don't want any stimulation from outside except warmth, like hugging and touch, and just your voice maybe was enough, but nothing like a movie at the background. So we watched the movie again. It was not a long movie, but because we stopped and I texted my friend who had no idea I'm in labor, and I wanted to keep it this way because it was just fun, honestly. And so I was just, I don't know, like we ate popcorn. So it was not that like we watched non-stop, so that's why the movie kind of dragged for several hours, I feel like, because we stopped, we walked around, and at some point we stopped watching it because I didn't want it anymore. So it was like too much stuff going on.
And like there were too many stops, so it didn't really make a lot of sense to keep watching.
Yeah, it was kind of annoying at the point. So we went here in the living room to talk. We kind of talked about stuff, random stuff. Again, it's so cool because it felt like a date because we could finally talk about stuff, and not what I would imagine when you're in labor and you can talk about anything because you can think about anything. No, it wasn't like that. I could still think about many things, and I remember that when we approached about 4 or 4:30 even, I think 4:30, it was already getting dark because again it's January, and we were thinking, geez, what are we going to do? I was honestly thinking that the baby will be here, having my previous experience, by lunchtime, maybe a little after lunch, definitely by 4, and now it's 4:30 and...
Yeah, it kind of surprised both of us because the first one, like, I figured I'd have time to like read or draw or play a game or something, and it was just like constant action, I guess, until the baby was born.
Non-stop.
So this was significantly different, just that it was drawn out through like the whole day.
Which again, I feel like compared to regular experience of birth, it was still fast. For the second birth, maybe even faster than average, I don't know. It was still not long. But in my perspective, having first birth that quick, I wasn't concerned that something is wrong or anything, but it was strange that it was so long.
Yeah, I'd say like a little annoying.
Yeah.
We're just like waiting, like, come on, little guy.
With the first birth, you're open to anything. With the second birth, when you already have the first kid, there's a lot of logistics. So you feel like, I don't know, I felt like she's never been without us for that long. What is she doing? I mean, I felt a lot about, I thought a lot about her.
And then we started wondering, like, what happens if it like goes overnight? Like, do we leave her with my mom? And she never spent the night over at someone else's place. And the other option is if we bring her here and Luna goes into labor during the night, then what, we just like try to keep it quiet so we don't wake her up, or
how it goes. I mean, she sleeps pretty well, but her bedtime was not very early, so it would be like 9 or 10. I would even say 10:30. So can I actually wait until midnight to be safe, to be like do whatever because then she'll be sleeping fine? It was a lot of, there were a lot of questions. I don't even feel like before 5, before I went to the bathroom, to say correct, I needed any like pressure, counter pressure or anything. I was fine.
Yeah, it was actually a while before we started doing the pressure.
Yeah, there was no need for that, like really. My water didn't break yet, so I thought there's still obviously some time before. I do remember that with my first birth, I wanted to be on the floor. I felt this very strange pull. I just didn't want to stand. I didn't want to do. I just wanted to be on the floor, not like lying there, but on my knees or something. And I didn't. Before 5, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be in the water either. Both times, first birth, second, didn't feel like it. I don't know. Anyway, so then sometime around 5 something, I guess even. Yeah, I guess like 5:15 maybe something. I just needed to go to the bathroom. Not to speed up the process, which I didn't think before, but of course, like if you want to speed up the process, you go in the body. But I had to go. It was a miserable experience. It feels like it's not meant to do both things together. But then in the hindsight, now I know why it was such a miserable experience, because he turned out to be posterior. Then I needed John, and then I felt like it was very close to having our daughter. That like, don't go, just come here. He's like, let's text the midwife. I'm like, partly, no, just come here. Put counter pressure. I need you.
Yeah, so we did that for a while.
For a while, it's like maybe 20 minutes.
Oh yeah. A lot of like keeping like so any guys watching this who are considering home birth, you're not just gonna sit there, you're gonna be busy. So man, do your research, know what you're getting into. It's not that bad, but I mean you will be busy. And I found like during the actual birth, it helped to have a third person there. So in our case, it was the midwife and her assistant. So they could take over what I had been doing, so I could do like pressure and counter pressure.
5:30 or something. I think 5:30 or around 5:30. We John finally texted the midwife. I feel like you texted. I don't think you called.
Yeah, no,
She, I think throughout the day we texted her here and there, but mostly saying that, it doesn't seem to be progressing that fast. So again, no idea how soon. And we, again, as I said, we were watching a movie. I didn't feel like we needed her to be here to watch a movie with us. I mean, like, how can she help? I mean, if she wanted to come, yeah, but we were fine. It felt like a date. Really.
And she's a great person. We wouldn't have minded her company, but
it felt like we were comfortable and there was no need for anything. And again, at that time we thought that maybe it will not even happen today. So why drink her here if nothing is coming?
So we text her. She says she's on her way. And she doesn't live too far, which is very convenient, very good. She gets here, she starts getting her stuff set up, and she takes a look at Lena and says, "Oh, the baby's going to be here in like 5 minutes." Okay. And in my head I was thinking like, there's no way. Like, how could you possibly know that? Like, you just walked in and sure enough, about 5 minutes later.
She was definitely waiting for us to say something like, "Oh, just come, not like 5 minutes before birth, but at least an hour before or something," like.
I was kind of expecting her to come in and like take over, and that did not happen. So I kept doing what I was doing, which was keeping like a warm washcloth on Lena to prevent tearing and stuff.
It's just very, very relaxing.
So-
It helps opening. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you like swap them out from time to time. You've got like a little crock pot going.
So they keep warm.
Yeah. So, so I was doing that. It's kind of busy, like running, swapping them out, trying to keep them clean and stuff. And I figured, midwife's here, great, she's gonna jump in. No. And she set her stuff up, did what she needed to do. I thought she might have been a little upset because we waited so long. Next one we probably shouldn't wait so long, just out of courtesy.
Eventually, I remember that feeling in which it feels like your belly, my belly was like a sack, and he was just kicking out of it, trying to propel himself. At that time, I remember part of me was thinking, geez, I'm so weak. Because with giving birth to her was like constant and awful in the way that it didn't give me any break. And I was fine and felt like I had energy, even though John was telling me that I was shaking and everything. But
Yeah.
my recollection of that time was that I was strong, and now I felt like, geez, I'm so weak because I barely had any strong feelings coming, and I already want to be done with it. So I asked her, she says, 2 minutes. And because you're in a state in which you can't really think straight, so my first thinking was, I can do it for 2 minutes. Perfect. So now I'm all set. I have some kind of measurable time to know how long it will last. And exactly 2 minutes after he was born. So what happens in these 2 minutes? I decided I actually kind of cannot lean on the couch anymore, and I cannot sit, be on my knees. I want to be reversed. So I sit on the birthing chair, birthing stool, and that was actually very convenient because John was basically catching the baby like that basically. And if he wasn't posterior, I'm assuming he would be catching his face because babies usually come the other way, so they are facing out. But he comes, the baby, because we didn't know that yet, that it's he. So the baby comes in the one first push, which I didn't push, I just was breathing quickly like dog style. Again, very helpful because you have so little brain power that the only brain power you use is for breathing. So I was thinking all about breathing. I couldn't think about how I can push and breathe at the same time. So I'm breathing.
And guys, like, pay close attention to that because they do lose a little bit of brain power during labor. So you might have to remind them how to do things, like how to breathe. Like there were some words in Russian that I remember Lena would use to help with her breathing when she was giving birth to her daughter. And it was like she completely forgot about him for this one, so I reminded her, and it seemed to help.
Yeah.
So just kind of pay attention to that. Help them out as much as you can, because not that they need it, but I mean it'll help.
Yeah, brain power too. So I felt like I didn't have any brain, but again, it's a normal sign of losing control because it's just all the primal things you're doing that you don't have to think too much. Your body knows what to do.
And your body produces some serious painkillers during this process.
That make you kind of drugged. First push, let's call it, and the baby comes out halfway. Half the body comes out, which is strange because I've never seen that. I'm assuming it can be that one push and the whole baby comes out. But in our case was that the baby's facing me, face up. John is catching the baby, holding it because again it's not the full body yet. But the head, shoulders, the whole body up to the belly button is out. It's a weird feeling. Also weird to think, again, at that time I didn't think about it, but now thinking how much stretch there is because head is like that big, neck is like that big. You can imagine shoulders and the whole body is a little wider than that. But anyway, I was absolutely fine, no tears. But I'm looking at the baby, knowing that it may be a boy, maybe a girl. I'm thinking it is a girl, and I'm saying, She is so beautiful. Like, and I'm thinking in my head, she's like a doll. She is like a doll. Everything is so, carefully made, like the sacred, like this perfectly shaped head, eyes, everything.
So when our son was coming out, like I had the warm wet washcloth down there to help prevent like tearing and stuff. So I didn't believe the midwife when she said it would be about like 2 minutes. So when I felt like a little push against my hand, it's like, that's weird. And it took me like a moment to realize like, hey, that's the baby. And nobody else knows that the baby's coming. You might want to, tell somebody. So, yeah, I did eventually. But, so then when the baby was coming out and Nina said that, oh, she's beautiful, I looked at her and like, it's a girl.
I had no idea. He he got the baby, gave the baby to me. It's just a second movement.
Neither one of us had actually looked. Like I caught the baby and then right on the mama's chest.
Of course, right after birth, you don't care about it. It's just like the baby's here, everything is done, and you are so happy you don't care what gender. And then, of course, curiosity kicks in, and we looked, and it's a boy!
Yeah.
Deja vu again.
You're crying.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, and like the same deja vu that with her we thought it was a boy, and then bam, it's a girl, and then here we thought it was a girl, and then it's a boy. Next time I'm not going to guess, or if I guess, I'll know that it's the opposite.
I was gonna say you have to guess because I always guess the opposite now. And then I'm right.
The only, let's say, negative part was that because I didn't eat much all day, I didn't feel like it. I, of course, was exhausted by 6 o'clock when we had him, 6 p.m. I felt absolutely fine, no different than I was with her, maybe a little dizzy like everybody would after birth. But they were very concerned, midwife and John and the assistant, and then I guess later anybody who would come. I was very pale.
Yeah. Again, probably from not eating like the whole day.
So they were trying to force feed me, and the midwife didn't want to leave before I ate to see that the color is coming back. So yeah, it did come back. I felt fine. I didn't have I didn't have any tears. I didn't have any bleeding or anything. Just everything was fine. Just I needed to eat.
Yeah, home birthers have some kind of meal like planned out ahead of time, like something quick, easy to whip up, something that she doesn't have to do after giving birth to a baby, so she can eat. And
yeah, we even have the cake, right?
What? Which you made.
Yeah, because I was so prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I ate everything, it's fine. Placenta came out, I don't know, 5 minutes later or something.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that. I remember that it came out, but I don't remember how long after. And there was again no problem with that. They even showed me this time because last time I remember I was so into the baby that I didn't care, but I was curious later to see what placenta looks like and everything. But this time they showed me the calcification, I think it's called, when the baby is 40 plus weeks, then the placenta is starting to, let's say, age. Then they showed me that it's a sign. He had other signs of being mature enough that he was 40 plus weeks, so it was not, we were not mistaken about the due date, everything is fine. Yeah, so here he is. 1 year later. So big and cute and healthy.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about?
Huh?
So when our daughter got home, her first reaction to the baby, you're not quite sure what they're gonna think. Like there's this new baby in the house. she cried. Like seriously cried. It was a while before we were able to like calm her down. I think most of that was probably just the stress of the day. Yeah.
It was very long, plus she leaves home and there's just like mom and dad, comes back, there's some kind of baby. I mean, of course she saw me and we talked about it in the pregnancy, but you can explain to a 3-year-old that it's, I mean, she didn't get it at first, and there was like a lot of emotional stress of that day. Yeah.
Now they get along very well most times. Maybe a little too well. I'm a little concerned about that actually.
She definitely likes to be an older sister because there's a part of control. Like I can, if you didn't hear what mom said, I can say it again. Like if you're allowed to crawl somewhere or do something, I can tell you that again because I'm your older sister. Yeah, it's fun. So if you are somebody who is expecting soon, if you're considering, even if you're not considering home birth, you just wanna be inspired by a positive home birth story or positive birth story, I hope it had an effect on you. I hope you will be more relaxed, more confident in the days approaching. And if you have any questions about home birth, about anything actually, about related to birth, comment down below. You can reach out and ask us.
Yeah, and like if you're nervous about it, that's okay. I was too, so it took some convincing for me to go ahead and be okay with it. But I have absolutely no regrets. So if you're where I was and are curious about it, I do encourage you to at least check it out.
Yeah, if you are really considering home birth, it makes sense to really find home birth communities or just people who had home birth and contact them and hanging out, just see their kids. This helps talk about birth, because usually people who had home births, they would love to share it, especially around people who are like-minded. It's difficult to share anything with people who had trauma of birth. Because you feel like you're showing off. We're not showing off, we just want to show people and share our experience, to say that
Almost.
to say that it's possible, and if you really want to experience a positive birth, then again it's within reach. I'm pretty sure. There's a lot of work needed to be done before, usually mentally, physically.
Yeah, I was gonna say physically too.
Knowing what birth is, what it entails, all the steps and stages of it.
Be ready for a marathon or a sprint, because you don't really know which one's coming.
And be ready for that. Be ready for whatever outcome. Be ready to go to the hospital if whatever reason this will be necessary. But just be open, be positive, and everything will be the way you want, or even better, more wonderful. I think that's it for today's video. Thank you for staying with us for the very end. And Jana's eaten by a dinosaur, so.
It happens. I've had worse days.
So see you in the next video.
Alright. See you.
Bye.
Goodbye.